Welcome. How's it going, everybody? On today's video, I'm doing a reaction to the UK riot and the situation that's going on in London. It's crazy what's been going on. There's been a lot of protests, a lot of rioting. People call them far-right extremists. I think the problem is migration, inflation, no job market. The YouTube channel I'm reacting to is Channel 5 by Andrew Culligan.
We know what it feels like to live life.
Hope you like this video.
In an unshakable love.
Like this video.
And have an unleashed passion.
I'm not supposed to say that until the
And in every synagogue that supports the Israeli regime.
Another fire, another night of chaos.
Anti-immigration rioters attack a hotel in Rotherham.
Do you see us holding innocent people responsible?
Crowds clashing with police outside a hotel where immigrants are being housed.
Yeah, you don't. We're coming in peace. And imagine our anger. Imagine how we feel every day in Chechnya, in Syria, Iraq, Palestine, Kashmir, Mali, Libya, everywhere. We see our children killed. We don't behave in a manner that you see these hooligans behaving in because they don't care for their girls. They're here for violence and they're here because they hate us.
You see? The protest is going on in London is about like all those problems I mentioned before. All this happened recently because there's been a lot of crime going on in London and 3 girls was unfortunately murdered by a black guy. And for some reason, they think the black guy is Muslim. And this has been a very racial controversy topic that's going on in London. Like, a lot of them is showing their true color. A lot of them is showing their dislike towards Islam and the Muslim community. Unfortunately. There's nothing I could say about that, but I think you shouldn't hate nobody off somebody's race, gender, or nationality. And you know, I feel like ever since the Queen died, UK has been destined to fall. So you know, between the economy, the inflation, because their job market is not strong. They're not a wealthy country as they used to be like 200 years ago. London and UK and Europe as a whole has become very poor over the decades. And you know, now they think migrants is taking up the country. I think migrant is good for the economy, but when it's too many, it boosts up the prices on food, gas, housing, and I think that's a problem. But tell me what you think about this whole situation, what's going on in London. Don't you feel like this division is happening here in America too? If you think it's happening in America, like it, comment and like the video. This is going on all around the world. The West has implicated a plan to migrate a lot of people to Western countries because they want to diversify. I think it's a wrong idea. I think you should diversify countries, but not in the way these Western powers is doing it. Anyways, I'm gonna get back to the video. Sorry for me ranting.
Black Christian man born in Wales killed them girls.
Axel Rudakabana is 17, British, born in Wales and of Rwandan heritage.
But who they're directing their anger at? They're directing it at Muslims only. Why? Because their agenda is anti-Islam straight up. This is our fucking country, not fucking theirs. This was my outcome.
I'm here to save the kids. The children have been murdered. There's been a massacre on the street.
They've got the targeting little white girls all over the country. Let's call a spade a fucking spade.
It's like Russian roulette at this point. Which one's going to be next? No one questioned why BLM were out. No one questions why Palestine are out. We're saving the kids. We're stopping the boats. We're closing the borders. Look how mad we've all gone. This is real women. This is lionesses. This is the lion roaring. I'm not racist and I don't give a fuck what you say.
Then who's trying to kill our kids?
Policies that politicians put in place, yeah?
Exactly, she has it right. It's the politicians have been. It's like they've been making this country more poor and dumping more people in. It's the politicians' fault, of this current situation. Sometimes I feel like the government want this to happen. They want this to happen. I don't know why, man. I think this is all part of the Great Reset. It's part of the great new agenda with AI coming up, taking up all the jobs and migration. I feel like all this is part of the agenda. And it's crazy how they're just like, disrespecting the Muslims and all that. Not all Muslims are terrorists, and not all Muslims are rapists and killers and, gang members and criminals. They are decent Muslim people. You shouldn't judge Muslims by the action of a few Muslims or by what's going on in the situations in the country. It's sad, but it's true. I feel like UK is bringing too many people, just like the United States. They're bringing too many people to this country, and they don't know what to do with them. What a pity.
Vote! Stop the vote! Stop the vote! Stop the vote!
They're calling us far right. We're not far right. We're all fathers and parents of children. There's immigrants are coming in without paperwork. We're lying about their ages. We don't know nothing about the backgrounds, and that's what it's about.
We don't want to be branded far right. We're here for the right reasons. I want my kids to know I didn't stay silent. Leave our kids alone.
It's about children that have lost their lives in this city, and we're passionate about that up here.
We're not racist. We've got Muslim friends. Our country has benefited from migration. However, it's just getting overwhelming. We're a very small island. It's become a security risk.
Religion means fuck all, lad. I'm not arsed. This is about people coming in. They could be Christians from Somalia or wherever, and they're fucking wrong-uns. That's what it is. We're letting wrong-uns in. This is not religious. That's bollocks. Fucking bollocks. This is about the wrong-uns they're letting in. You can be a Christian, you can be whatever. You're coming in, you've got no intention of fucking helping the country. You're here to cause trouble. You're here to take and thieve and steal. You're here to stay for nothing. So, unfortunately, that's a no-no.
There's 50,000 people here on an MI6 list, isn't there? Start with them, get rid of them, get rid of the people who are killing kids, raping kids, get rid of them.
Stop the boats, kick them out. There's too many of you here. You just don't respect our country, you don't respect our religion.
A lot of countries like Europe, Sweden, a lot of white countries, they want to ban the migration. They don't want their people, just like Japan, they don't want their people to become multicultural. Like, they don't want them to become darker. They want them to stay white and want them to stay in the white bloodline. But unfortunately, it's not going that way. Black people, like, I consider I'm black. Black people, we taking over the world. We in every country. There's black Latinos like me. There's like black people in the Caribbean, black people in South America, black people in Europe, black people in Asian communities. We're everywhere. And this is not going to stop. Because God said in the end times, his chosen people was going to cover the earth. That's us. That's us Negroes that's been in captivity. So all this, it seems bad, and, a lot of people my color may go through stuff, but all this is part of God's agenda, All this is a Bible sign. All this is the sign of the end times. All the degeneracy, all the crimes, the LGBT community, all types of negative stuff, it's coming up to the light. But it's coming up to the light and it's being cleansed to something better, and hopefully the future will be more positive. Let UK settle their differences now, so in the future everybody could be united. If God wants it to be. If not, it's gonna be more protests, more riots, more chaos, more division. Division gotta stop. That's the tool the politician used to control us. Division.
All you think about is Aisha because she was 9 years old. That's what you're all into. paedophilia.
Listen, this is a message for George Soros, yeah? Britain will never fall. We don't care how many globalists, yeah? George Soros, yeah? You globalist scumbags, yeah? Import as many of them as you want, yeah? Guess what? Christ will prevail, yeah?
This world is so corrupt. Labour's supposed to love the Northwest, supposed to be for the working class. They've stabbed the real people who has got real concerns. They've stabbed a lot of us in the back. And we supposed to stand here and let everybody call us right-wing and Nazis. I've got Asians in my family. I ain't racist one bit. What I am is scared of this government.
We've now got two-tier Kia coming on the news and having the audacity to call the general public far right.
I utterly condemn the far-right thuggery we've seen this weekend.
I've seen all this coming. No one wanted it. We've tried to warn about it, and I'm still going to try and warn about it. I don't want to fight anybody. We don't want wars with Muslims. I don't think it's a good idea attacking mosques at all. I'm not a conservative either.
Yeah, besides rioting and looting shops, they've been attacking mosques. And that's a holy place. That's a place of praise. That's the last place you should damage and, destroy. Unfortunately, they're doing it. Unfortunately, London is showing its true colors, its true racist colors. They don't like dark-skinned people. They don't like Indians, blacks, Muslims. They don't like people, ethnic people. They just want their people in there. They don't even like Asians. They just want their people, white people. And they feel like because white people is not the majority in London no more. The majority is mixed people and ethnic people. Like all types of people from around the world. That's the majority. And they lost the majority, so they're revolting.
I'm not an anarchist. I want a decent party that cares about the people. That's all we want. Every person, doesn't matter where you're from.
Okay, so if Tories weren't the answer, Labour wasn't the answer, who is?
I'm not a politician and I'm thick as pig shit, but I can talk to people. I've never been to school, I can only write my own name, but I've got an heart as big as a lion, and I'll stand there against anybody for the sake of our country. People need to wake up against Labour. These are the rats. We're not racist, we're scared.
Everybody out there who's not acting and is not on this street now, get out there and act. Don't call yourself a man unless you're out here. Don't call yourself a man. Simple as that. You don't fight for your country. You don't push back the invaders. You're not a man.
If we don't fight now, it's going to come to our kids having to fight, and they're not going to win it. They're not going to win the fight, so I don't want the violence. We've got to try and do it peacefully, but this has to be the final straw where there's a clear message sent to those in charge that you either step up or you step aside now.
I was in Southport on Tuesday.
Police tried to keep apart a group of far-right protesters and a much larger anti-fascist counter.
This has been going on for over a month already. About to be 2 months. It's crazy. If they keep protesting, keep rioting, keep doing all this, by the end of August, it'll be 2 months.
The protest.
The media absolutely corrupt.
Matter of fact,
they
by
lied.
the 25th,
there wasn't a single member of the EDL there. They weren't a member of the far right there. There was little girls, older women. There was older men. There was young men, middle-aged men, outraged at what the government's allowing to happen to us. What the government's allowing this cancer to do to us. This cancer that's grown within our nation. We need to stop it.
My children were abused by social services, and Merseyside police have covered it up.
Save the kids. She's right. Save the kids. The few people that were talking about kids, save the kids from violence and from the establishment. But this is not the way to protest. And do you see this girl's teeth? Her teeth is disgusting. Her teeth is rotting like the writing. It's worse than the writing. Oh man, she needs a dentist.
A hidden grooming gang that won't be released to the public.
Defund the BBC. The media are the lies. The media is the virus.
Much like at protests in the United States, a line of riot police who sustained minor injuries throughout the course of the day had formed a sort of demilitarized zone between nationalist stop-the-boats protesters and an equally sized counter-protest of mostly left-leaning Liverpool locals who showed up.
So both sides is protesting, bro. What he's saying in this little clip right here, he's saying both sides is protesting right now. The right side, the racist, not the racist, but the anti-migrant, and then the migrant side, the we want migrants to live here side. But shit, man, all this division, I don't know if this is the answer, but sometimes it needs to be done so peace could resolve.
In person to confront a mob of who they believe to be far-right racist protesters.
They're all inbred. Yeah, they need a dentist. They're not interested in like children that were killed in Southport. They just want to cause a fight. We're a multicultural city, a city of sanctuary, and I hope they get lost.
What do you think the solution is? Throw them all into the sea. That's what the chant says.
Solution is, well, to get rid of capitalism and have a social society, and then these people would be catered for, not blaming it on fucking immigrants and refugees and what have you. They've obviously got issues because they've been let down, no dentists, no doctors, no housing, right? But that's not immigrants or refugees' fault. That's the fault of this fucking government.
Despite this frontline tension, it appeared that the vast majority of counter-protesters weren't actually interested in having a direct confrontation with English nationalists, and instead had organized their own rally at nearby St. George's Hall in support of migrants and refugees.
Refugees are welcome here.
Oh, someone just got married.
Oh.
See, this is Liverpool, and the far right is trying to threaten that.
A quick explanation, what happened in Southport?
Obviously, I mean, there was a horrible attack in which 3 children lost their lives.
Yes.
What happened since then was...
Yes, she's explaining right there what's going on. Wow, you know, this is partially what happened. That crime, those 3 little girls died. More things happened over the weeks, but that was the main tipping point.
It's a massive lie about the identity of that attacker, which was, led by the likes of Tommy Robinson.
After murdering and raping...
Tommy Robinson! That's Andrew Tate's friend.
Confident they become across the entire West.
Of Lawrence Fox, of other far-right people online.
So an undocumented migrant decided to go into a Taylor Swift dance class today and stab 6 little girls.
Also the likes of Nigel Farage is complicit.
We will only stop this if we start deporting people that come illegally.
This led people in Southport, racists and far-right people, to feel emboldened to come out on the street and to attack a mosque that had no connection to the identity of the attacker. I think it's also important to say that even if the attacker was a Muslim or a migrant, or the things that they were lying about, it still does not license the far-right attacks on communities we've seen around Britain. So people around the country today are actually protesting. I think, people here feel a part of something bigger. In Manchester, they got pushed back this morning. In Liverpool, we pushed them back outside the mosque last night. People who are here today are proud to stand in a multicultural Britain, and, the far-right's trying to threaten that.
I don't think there is anything special about what's happening in the UK. I think it's a reflection of what's happening internationally, in that you've got a crisis of capitalism, living standards for, in society going downhill.
You see, this guy, he gets the big picture. He gets sort of what I'm thinking about when it comes to migrants moving into first world country situation.
Just a general crisis of the system. Far-right groups, obviously what they do is they latch on to the deep anger that exists. They build in the most impoverished areas of the country, and they basically try and divert that anger away from class struggle against the bosses and against, first the Tories and now Labour, and they rile a lot of very young people up, young men up, with very toxic ideas, and they send them out to go and attack migrant communities. That's a real threat we have to take seriously. And if the left doesn't have a convincing alternative that's based around mass struggle, that's based around fighting back in that kind of way, the far right seeps in. You've seen it in France. I think the end game of these far right groups is obviously to just create a society where there's mass expulsions of migrant workers. I mean,
we need to tell those people the alternative march. We need to get truth through to them, and that's important. It's all right, Steve. We're suffering the rages of capitalism. We're suffering the rages of, if Tony Blair didn't go and cause a fucking war in Iraq, or at least support that fucking war, if we weren't selling bombs to everyone across the planet, those people wouldn't be being bombed out their homes and having their land just stolen from them because of oil, because of agriculture, because of water and everything else. They'd be happily sitting in their homes, most of them, and they wouldn't be running to anywhere they can possibly get to save their children being blown to fucking smithereens. That's why, and I don't get it why people don't get that. If you have a problem with immigration, I'd have respect for you if you went out on marches and told the government enough is fucking enough. no more bombing or creating wars in other places. And if we are this powerful country, and you are
This guy is right on the money. He's right on the money. If London wouldn't have started all those wars in the Europe and USA, if both of these countries wouldn't have started a war in all these impoverished and poor countries, we wouldn't have this migration crisis. Like, if we wouldn't start all the war, and if we wouldn't put all the sanctions and then the war, because we go to these countries, we loot, we kill, and we steal, and then we throw sanctions at them. So they have no option but to leave. And then they get mad when the problem come to us, when a lot of migrants come to these first world countries like United States of America and London. No, don't get mad. If you American, you mad at the migrant situation, really, blame it on the politics, blame it on the political class, blame it on whoever's controlling your government.
Genuinely, these powerful politicians take on these other fuckers across the planet and negotiate with them and create peace. It's not going to be easy, but you can at least fucking try.
Really, to tackle all these problems, we need to transform society to a socialist one and create like a society where wealth is shared more equally amongst the people that create it, which is the majority of the working class people, you know, the capitalists who own everything. They pit us all against each other along the lines of like race, being LGBT, men and women, you know what I mean? Like, we're all divided, so we're coming together. But more importantly, a sharing of like all of the wealth in the world will kind of do away with that sort of racism, and it's not an easy task, but yeah, that's why we're here. Like, yeah, people are obviously angry and they're all out together, so we want to like reach those people.
I hope you liked this video. It's been about like 12 minutes long, maybe more. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to cut it short.
Migrant worker, British born, you know, it's about building that working class solidarity.
I believe in living in a kingdom that's good and true.
One thing I'm excited for what's the resolution of this conflict. What's gonna be the answer towards peace? What's gonna happen between these communities? That's what I'm looking forward to.
Shortly after the Stop the Boats protest and counter-protest both dispersed, threats were reported to have been made online by members of the right-wing English Defense League targeting a nearby mosque, prompting a standing army of Arab teenagers to assemble with the purpose of standing on business in the event of catastrophe. Well, not all teenagers, but mostly teenagers. In front of the mosque is where guest reporter Sanjay spoke to those youths at the beginning of the video, but there were also many other older community members who showed up to express support and solidarity.
We cannot tolerate racism in this country. We are totally against EDL in their...
It's nice seeing y'all, man. Stay in tune with me. I'm going to be dropping more content here on YouTube. And I'm going to be consistent. Peace.